Hey guys, so I'm going live right now. I just popped over on Instagram to let people over there who are possibly awake that I'm going live, hoping some of you can tune in. If not, that's okay. The biggest reason I'm going live right now is because for the last month, which I talked about it in my last live video, I've been struggling with my hard drive space on the current computer that I have. And I have an external hard drive which holds an overwhelming amount of space, but my computer is so full from videos and photos and um, me writing books and all my documents that it's kind of glitching with me even uploading and deleting stuff. So that's preventing me from really making new videos right now and editing them and adding in pictures or cute little phrases. So I wanted to go live to talk a little bit about this transitional process that's happening in my life. I, for the last decade, have been living on the West Coast in Oregon in the United States for all of you people that are in other countries. And it has been eye opening, soul awakening. I met a lot of soul family. I've bonded, connected with so many people. I started my first business out there. I took a lot of classes um, and have had a lot of gardens. If um, being truthful in my authenticity and my share with you guys, I have been a medical marijuana grower for the last decade out there professionally. In the last year or two, I've worked with some major companies in upcoming recreational marijuana gardens. And I said goodbye to all of that. And I still have my psychic business and my art business. Legally, I cannot practice reflexology in the state of West Virginia, which is where I'm currently at right now. In Oregon, I could, but there's some legality issues with things on the massage boards, and it's different in different states. So a lot of my business is changing and evolving. I'm hoping to become part of this kind of revolutionary and evolving process of the medical marijuana in the state of West Virginia. This is where the majority of my family is, so I'm getting regrounded with family. I'm currently on my mom's property. I get to spend my days with my little sisters. They're twins. I'm about 19 years older than they are. It's kind of surreal. So I'm temporarily in this little room working on having a house built right now. And I've never had my own place. Most everywhere that I've lived since traveling from East Coast to West Coast, I've lived with people where I've renovated, and I've done a lot of my construction work, artistic work, renovated tiny houses, put in tile work, did painting, did building, did garden work, farm work, was on a hardship permit, ran tiny farms, done a lot of trade, done caretaking positions, done house cleaning positions, gone down a full spectrum of a lot of integrating a lot of learning things and possible work opportunities. And I'm really proud of myself for doing those things and putting my best foot forward and inspiring others, but also helping others, but gaining so much in return. So, this is a new process for me. I've never had my own place because I've always lived with other people. I was in a serious relationship for about 8 years with someone that I love very much and is very dear to my heart. And that was a big transitional process for me where, like many relationships, sometimes things just change. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole with that. But to give an idea of what my life has looked like prior, just within, I don't even know how long my channel's been going, but within the last 5 years or so, have been making videos. And I've been kind of called to do that by spirit guides, from dreams, from visions, to express and explore sharing information that I've had hidden within and held within since a child and have learned and gained over the years. My own growth process and getting to a place where I can really offer that information to others for perspective, not to push beliefs onto anybody, but to offer some kind of insight from my own experiences and my own theories and my own personal beliefs. So, with living in West Virginia, coming back to this state, the goal for me when I first went to the West Coast was to build a sanctuary. I grew up in a town here in West Virginia that is not very progressive. A lot of people on drugs. The economy is not very well. People struggled with keeping jobs. And I had to experience a lot of friends living on the street. I had to experience a lot of death from overdose, loss of loved ones. Hey, Ron, thanks for tuning in. And it's as a child growing up and seeing people around you struggle constantly and having such a lighthearted perspective about how you think and feel life should be on earth, and to find out that that's not the way life on earth is, was really hard for me in my child mind to compute that information. And so, since I was about 9, I was always doing my witchy woo woo magic. I had my herbs in a bowl with water, looking up spells online, writing little prayers and affirmations, sending off well wishes to people, throwing pennies and stones and sticks and water everywhere. And just instantly had this desire at that young age to want to create this sanctuary, this sacred space for people. And so I felt drawn to go out west. I didn't realize that even though I thought I would be building a sanctuary out west, that going to the West Coast in the US was going to be much more of just a learning and a growing process for me. That area specifically is a lot more progressive, a lot more evolved in this type of spiritual awareness and knowing. I had all this instinctual experience as a child that I didn't know existed in the rest of the world until I went out there. And when I first moved, I lived in high desert with the high desert with sagebrush and juniper trees, and a small little cabin with a generator for water and two small solar panels and nothing else for like 8 months. And it was very eye opening, like eye opening, and soul awakening for me because there weren't a concentrated amount of people. There wasn't a concentrated amount of buildings. There wasn't anything to influence the instinctual feelings and thoughts and knowing that I had outside of source and spirit and the elementals and the fey beings and higher deities and my higher consciousness, my higher self, and all that my own inner knowing. Really, just when I picture it, like that version of myself was me hiking around naked in the desert and sitting by bonfires and jumping in and free flowing lakes and ponds and rivers and lakes wherever I found them. And it was very blissful. And then I was so comfortable in this space because of being a sensitive and an empath. Everything felt so clear, but I was being pushed, to not stay in that environment, to get back out, to learn more things, to integrate with people. And it became even more eye opening. It led me to meet beautiful teachers, soul family, friends, to help people to be helped, to have a lot of positive integration with that growth process for myself and my own unique story and process. Hi, Austin. Thanks. You guys are amazing too. Thanks for tuning in. So, digressing, I had this desire to build a sanctuary, but like I said, I was learning so much more. Universe, spirit, God, fairies, everything was just teaching me so much, and I was absorbing it like a sponge, taking things that I already felt instinctually and building onto that. And then I began to realize that everything that I was afraid of here in West Virginia where I grew up, everything that I experienced from conditioning to religious persecution to depression and anxiety and the pain of others and that psychic and empathetic and sensitive abilities awakening in this space in what felt like a much darker environment for me because of levels of abuse that I had experienced and had witnessed. It made me realize then, after all this growth just recently, that I was trying to build a sanctuary in a place that already has a lot of sanctuaries, in a place that has a lot of entrepreneurs and spiritual people on every street corner and temples to be found. And it felt whole there for me because of what I had learned and gained in so much in perspective and emotional well-being and spiritual well-being and physical well-being that I needed to take what I had learned and bring it back to a place that I had originally run from. So now, a decade later, I'm back in West Virginia and I am only been here a week and I'm on this mental process with finding that land, that sacred spot, and really getting specific, more specific, trying to become in harmony more with my subconscious mind, with what I'm wanting to manifest, so I can create and build a sanctuary here in an area that needs it more and where people are still living on the streets, still struggling with drugs. And there's places like this all over the world and all over this country. And as one person, we and as most people, we all feel this overwhelming, immense need to help others. We want to give back, we want to change the world, we want to make a difference, and we want to do it on a large scale, yet we're always being told that we can only do so much. And with the awareness that there is a butterfly effect and we reach out to people in random acts of kindness, in conscious acts of kindness, in our own presence by being the best version that we can be, that by doing that for myself and being present for people here, that hopefully I can create that space, create that sanctuary, and it'll evolve into something that is, even if possibly on a small scale, helping this one area and become inspirational to other people wanting to create and build those things in other areas and be a part of that butterfly effect. Like I was saying earlier, for those of you tuning in, I'm having trouble with my hard drive information. So I wanted to give a little bit of an update of where my thought process is, this transition that I'm going through from moving all the way across the country to back where I was raised, where I grew up, the adversities that I experienced here, and what I'm trying to create here. So my business is evolving, but it's also going down the path of the original dream, the original goal, the original plan, and wanting to create a place that feels healing for people and safe for people, neutral for people, and not just for people, for animals. There is that big dream, that larger scale of what the perception of a sanctuary looks like, and it's different for many people. Some people have retreats, some people have holistic temples, some people have spa treatment type of places like spas. And I want to incorporate, I think on a small scale, many of those things where other people can come in and be involved and offer their own unique talents and abilities. I want a place where people can involve themselves with natural magic and earth magic and get grounded again, but find that body soul oneness. But more than anything, to continue this cycle of inspiration, to continue a cycle of positive give and take and receiving, to find balance with one another, find harmony with one another, but ultimately, through that positive social interaction, finding harmony within self. So we equally believe in our dreams and our goals and what we're manifesting. So, skipping from all of that in my transition back to why I'm going live, once again, my computer is glitching out on me. I have overwhelmed it with photos and videos, and I'm having a hard time getting everything onto my external hard drive. It's I'm working on it. I have to do some research, but my brain is really trying to, yeah, compute all the computer stuff. It's just so full. I think it's glitching with downloading, even though my external hard drive has a lot more space still. And so I'm going live because there has been video requests, a lot of different video requests. One video, I'm gonna say a whole list of videos that I'm planning on making, and whether I go live to do it or I figure out this storage space and really, I don't know, get to a place where my computer is like free and I can sit down and edit again. Till then, I'll probably just keep going live. But okay, so one first video that has been on the list to talk about, which recently came up in conversation with someone else that I connected with over her unique psychic abilities, is what the veil is. So we're going to go down the rabbit hole with talking about the perceived veil between physical reality and spiritual reality, that dimension there, and alternate dimensions in reality. And I can go very broad. We're not going to go into it yet. But along that path, we're also going to go into uh, another video, which Ron and I talked about today. Ron, if you're listening, which is connecting with your consciousness in the alternate realities and other dimensions, other versions of yourself, and becoming aware of that and trying to sync up with yourself in other places that you're becoming even more whole and balanced. And I've myself had a personal experience through waking trance of connecting with myself in an alternate reality because of an angel guide that came to me, a very intense experience. And I'll go down the rabbit hole with that one in another video. The other one is talking more specifically about people's psychic abilities when it comes to different forms of the clairs, like clairaudience, different forms of the telekinetic abilities, and with these concepts of time traveling where people, their physical bodies aren't necessarily time traveling, but their soul consciousness is time traveling in this reality, giving them the ability to see physically other things happening, whether past, present, or future in that space, whether it's an alternate reality dimension or it's them tapping into what would be a rip in the veil, going back to the veil video and seeing people, seeing objects. And that came up with a conversation with a female I recently connected with, which I'm so grateful she reached out, because then it just means that I get to connect more with like-minded people. And I'm like a kid in a candy store when we all get together and just go off on these rants of all this beautiful things. So with that, we've got veil video, we've got connecting with your consciousness and alternate reality videos. We're going to be talking about psychic abilities, soul time travelers, um, all those whole realm of things there in that video. The fourth video that is really stuck in my head that I'm very passionate about was when I started to gain the ability to notice how my left brain and my right brain, the different sides of your left and right brain, tune into would just in general tuning into the left brain and the right brain, and how that happens through forms of meditation where you can start to notice how you uh, perceive things you're thinking about when it comes to stuff that you're envisioning, and when it's stuff that you're talking about, is it being factual? How you can observe where people are mentally by watching how their eyes move, and how by using these meditation techniques to tap into left and right brain, you become aware of the consciousness living outside of your body, not just the consciousness in your body, but tapping more into your auric fields and the soul energy around you because you're seeing things. So when I talk about astral projection and out of body experiences in all my other videos, this will be the video that I make about your left and right brain, and these meditations will be more about how you can become more aware of your consciousness being outside of your body. And what I mean when I make videos about it being very broad, not just the stereotypical version of astral projection, but how we're always doing this, that we're part of us is always an astral plane or planes. So when it comes to, I have a lot of videos that I want to make. I feel like I'm behind on time, but really everything is in its right timing. Computer glitches and all. I still have the ability to go live and I can sit and talk with you guys in this way, which is super cool. So, with those 4 videos in mind, if you guys have specific questions about those videos, topics, or things that you want me to touch base on specifically, I had another person reach out recently in a comment that wanted to talk about the silver cord and the perceived cord of our life and death connection um, on the other side in astral projection. And I've also had some conversations come up recently about cryptids and perceived monsters and entities, things like uh, Bigfoot and other worldly creatures that come in and out of space and time and our realm of perception here. I have had so Austin is asking if anyone has ever told me that I have a crystal ore. I have been um, I've been approached by, I can't really call them strangers, definitely soul family, but at the time strangers, been approached by strangers while walking in Lithia Park in Ashland, Oregon, and they were an older couple that were love therapist, hypnotherapist, very psychic beings. For me, what I would consider spiritual healers, and had the gift of after that meeting doing one psychic healing session with them in their personal home. And I'm very, very grateful for their presence in my life, as short and bittersweet as it was. That, yeah, they approached me while walking across a bridge of water and instantly told me that my auric field was shining a brilliant emerald green. And for me, it's fascinating a little bit because I didn't know these people. I'm a Leo Virgo, but my natal chart says that I'm more Leo. So that's the heart chakra. Heart chakra is green. I was also walking with a good friend of mine that is an elderly gentleman. He's about 76 years old now. He's like family to me, and um, we would go on walks often. And they approached me and they told me these things and said that out of all their travels around the world and across the country, they had only met 2 indigo children, and that I was the 3rd indigo that they had ever met. But that at that moment in time, I was shining this brilliant emerald green, and I appreciated them so much for reaching out. I felt very blessed in their presence, and sometimes it's really, truly a gift for people to be acknowledged by other people that you think are complete strangers, but really they're aware of that soul connection. They're aware of being a part of that soul family. And I often try to present that myself. I'll keep pretty good boundaries with the work that I do. If I sense or feel things around people, I don't per se want to spook them by being like, hey, your grandma's behind you, or like watching over you. Or did you know that this was a past life that you had? Or did you know that this is one of your spirit animal totems? Like all the work that I would do with clients or friends or people on a regular basis, I didn't really have that Yeah, I set boundaries with some people, so I don't really want to go up and just constantly, uh, yeah, spook people in that way. Like, "Hey, yeah, grandma's standing behind you." So, my animals are breaking into the room right now. There's a lot of dogs in the house, and they bark often at the littlest things. And my kitten, is experiencing my cat is experiencing her first heat cycle. So my little sisters today learned what a cat being in heat means. So now they go around saying she needs a boyfriend. There's your funny for the day. It's really hilarious to me. Well, thank you, Austin, for the acknowledgement. I really appreciate you. I enjoy watching your videos as well. So, yeah, digressing, I try not to spook people, but I do like to acknowledge them like I've been acknowledged by people. Sometimes you really want to go up and just be like, "You were an old Indian woman and you were a basket weaver." Like, I don't know if that would fascinate somebody, but I sometimes feel the need to definitely share those things. So for anyone tuning in right now and for anyone who watches this later, um, I am grateful for you. I've been in transition. I'm having a tiny house built for me right now with the support of my family. I'm living in the area in which I grew up, and I'm planning on doing a lot of like pain body work, pain body for myself and pain body in the land. I want to go to places where I've experienced trauma and do ceremony and open circle and hold space for healing my emotional and spiritual well-being in those locations and doing a part of what I perceive to be my higher work, um, so I can be more authentic and more clear and more open with anybody, everybody, you guys, and for my own higher purpose, of course. And with that, I'm hoping that that inner and outer work evolves to where when the time is right and my financial well-being is stable, I will find the right land and I'm going to start digging into it and making my own caves and my own hobbit holes and creating the things that I'm passionate about, wanting to teach people how to build with the earth and live off the land and how to support ourselves and each other in a much more positive and healthy way. So, with that being said, feel free to ask questions about the videos I mentioned, the things that I'm going to talk about soon. And please say a little prayer and wish me well with this thing in my computer so I can make good quality videos for you guys.